Who would have thought that the quietest kid in the room, the one barely tall enough to reach the punching bag, would be the one to bring a full-grown black belt martial artist to tears? This isn't a story about strength, it's about courage, pain, and the kind of resilience that leaves a whole gym frozen in silence. And trust me, by the time you reach the end, you won't forget her name. The joke that went too far. It was a rainy Saturday morning at Ironwill Dojo, a popular martial arts center tucked between a grocery store and a laundromat in a small suburban town. The place buzzed with energy. Kids were wrapping their belts, parents were sipping coffee in the waiting area, and the familiar sound of sneakers squeaking against the mat filled the air. Among the students was Maya, an 8-year-old girl with thin arms, oversized glasses, and a white belt tied loosely around her waist. She was the kind of child most people overlooked. Not because she wasn't trying, but because she barely spoke and always stood in the far corner during warm-ups. Maya had joined the dojo only 3 weeks ago, and no one knew much about her. She came in alone, left alone, and trained with a silent focus that went unnoticed in a place where louder, more confident kids stole the spotlight. That same morning, Eric, a well-known black belt in his early 20s, entered the dojo to help coach. He was charismatic, loud, and loved by nearly everyone. With years of experience and multiple tournament medals, Eric saw himself as a mentor, but one with a sense of humor that didn't always land well. During a light sparring session, Eric joked around with the younger kids, offering playful challenges. Some parents laughed from the sidelines, seeing it as harmless fun. Then, his eyes landed on Maya. "Hey you," he called out, pointing at her. "White belt, want to show us what you've got?" The room chuckled lightly. Maya blinked, unsure if he was serious. "I mean, come on, let's see if you can take down a black belt," he said, grinning widely. No pressure. A few kids laughed. Some adults smirked, expecting a few clumsy punches, maybe even tears. But Maya didn't laugh. She stepped forward. There was no drama in the way she moved, just calm determination. Her small feet slid onto the mat, her eyes fixed on Eric's. She bowed politely, and he returned it, clearly expecting this to be over in seconds. But what happened next would change the entire room. Eric lunged lightly, playful at first, but Maya didn't flinch. She moved aside with surprising speed, letting his hand sweep past her like wind. Then, with a sharp pivot, she tapped his side, not hard, but precisely. The kind of hit that makes you think, wait, she knew exactly where to aim. He raised an eyebrow. The room got quieter. This time he tried a little harder, still playful, still smiling, but Maya dodged again, eyes scanning, calculating. Then another hit, just under his ribs, light, quick, but accurate. Eric stopped smiling. "Okay," he said under his breath. "Let's see what you've got." What followed was not a spar, but a lesson in patience, in pain, in silent strength. Maya wasn't fast, not in the way athletes usually are. But she was precise. Her every move was practiced, disciplined, and unshaken. The more Eric tried, the more the crowd leaned in. Finally, after an intense few seconds that felt much longer, Eric halted. He raised both hands in surrender. "I'm done," he chuckled, but it wasn't a mocking laugh this time. "You win." The room stayed silent. Then one parent clapped, another followed. Soon, the whole dojo was applauding the quietest girl in the room. But it wasn't just her skill that stunned everyone. It was what happened after that left the gym truly speechless. Because Maya walked back to her corner, sat down, and cried. Chapter 2. The story behind her silence. The dojo owner, Sensei Kuroda, approached her gently. He had seen many students break down after sparring, fear, pressure, embarrassment. But this was different. Maya's tears weren't from pain. They came from deep inside, the kind of grief that's too big for words. Kuroda sat beside her quietly. After a moment she spoke. "My dad used to do that move," she said, wiping her eyes. "The one he just tried. He taught me how to counter it." Kuroda didn't interrupt. He just listened. "He was in the army. Taught me every night after dinner. He said I needed to be strong in case I ever had to fight alone." There was a pause. "He died last year." Those 3 words hit harder than any punch in the gym. Maya looked up at the ceiling, trying to stop more tears from falling. "I promised him I'd never stop practicing. But I don't like people watching me. I only joined here because Mom said he'd want me to keep going." Kuroda nodded slowly. "And today, you honored him." The next day, something changed at the dojo. Maya walked in and kids waved at her. A girl named Jenna offered her a water bottle. Even Eric approached, this time with no jokes. Hey, I was out of line yesterday, he admitted. I thought you were just another shy kid, but you've got more discipline in your pinky than most of us do in our whole bodies. Maya smiled for the first time since she joined. Word spread fast. By the next week, everyone knew who Maya was. Not because she beat a black belt, but because she did it without ego. Without words, just pure heart. And Eric, he didn't stop training with her. In fact, he asked to spar with her every Saturday. You're going to make me better, he told her. Weeks turned into months, and Maya became one of the dojo's brightest stars. But more importantly, she became a symbol. For every quiet kid who thought they didn't belong, for every child carrying pain in silence, for every soul that needed to be reminded that true strength doesn't shout. It stands tall, even when the world isn't looking, for we often think strength is loud, that it's in muscles, medals, or black belts. But sometimes strength is in silence. It's in showing up, even when your heart feels too heavy. Maya didn't come to win, she came to keep a promise. And in doing so, she reminded an entire room that the quietest warriors often carry the loudest legacy.